Good morning, fellow Ugandans, members of Uganda People's Congress, and members of the international community. I'm known by the names Aroma Patrick. This morning, I want to focus on Honorable Jim AKENA blames on President Museveni and why Jim AKENA should stop blaming President Museveni and court for his political blunders. When Jim AKENA returned to Uganda in 2005, for us, we were already on ground working for Uganda People's Congress. We were the youth who were defending UPC nationally and internationally. So when I watched Jim AKENA yesterday after the court ruling blaming President Museveni and court that they are the ones who are responsible for stopping his nomination as a presidential candidate, I just laughed. Because one, ever since Jim AKENA entered Uganda House, UPC headquarters in 2015, he has faced several court cases. He has faced from the High Court up to the Supreme Court, 2015 up to 2025. The courts of laws, based on the legal challenges coming from a section of UPC members against Jim AKENA's leadership, ruled that Jim AKENA was not party president. But Jim AKENA chose to ignore the laws. He never implemented any court order. He did not respect any court decisions. He went ahead with his presidency at Uganda House. He did not even seek ways to resolve UPC internal political issues amicably with other party members. So for him to come yesterday and start blaming court and President Museveni that they are the one responsible for his failed nomination is a total I don't know even how to really term it, because his problems has been violation of the UPC party constitution and not following the party constitution of UPC. Jim AKENA knew that his term of office had ended. He has served his full terms under the UPC constitution. He had the opportunity to contest in 2016 and 2021. He did not contest. He never contested for any election. He didn't contest for any election in 2016 and 2021 when he had the opportunity under the constitution of UPC. So, he has no grounds to really start blaming President Museveni and the court when the problem is him as a person. Two, Jim AKENA had the total dependency on President Museveni and NRM, political total dependency, to sustain his presidency at Uganda House and at UPC headquarters. Because he went and then asked for police and other security deployment to maintain him. And yesterday he was saying that he went and discussed with President Museveni, and President Museveni told him not to contest, that if he contested, he will deny him 50 plus 1%. This is very interesting revelation. Why would Jima go to President Museveni and to NRM to discuss his contest as a presidential candidate for Uganda, as opposed to following the constitution of UPC? It is not President Museveni that is going to come and determine for him that he should contest. Because the laws and the constitution is very clear. It is fully laid down. The process of becoming the UPC flag bearer. You can only become the flag bearer through the constitutional processes. So, I find it very, very interesting. We need to really learn something from Jim AKENA. This sense of entitlement, taking the party leadership as a birthright, whereby you disregard all the legal avenues and procedures of running a political organization, is very bad. Because during Jim AKENA's term, he did not hold any national council for 10 years. He did not hold any delegates conference for 10 years. The way he managed and ran the party as if it's a personal property, which is wrong. Even President Museveni, by the way, Jim AKENA should have been a good student of President Museveni, should have learned from President Museveni. President Museveni calls this his Central Executive Committee under the NRM Constitution. I've been reading. President Museveni, I think, meets even more than 10 times, meeting members of Central Executive Committee, seeing how they can run and manage the NRM party. President Museveni calls the National Conference of NRM. President Museveni calls the Delegates Conference of NRM. President Museveni works through the party organs of the NRM. But for Jim AKENA, in the last 10 years, no single party organs were summoned. No accountability to the leadership, to the members of the party. That's not how you run an organization. Not even President Museveni, who has stayed in power for 40 years. President Museveni has overstayed in power, which is bad. He uses those other legal channels and legal maneuvers to make sure that he succeeds legally. But you cannot just be there. You disregard everything with toxic behaviors. And then you really claim. And then, to make matters worse, Jim AKENA prioritized personal gains over the UPC bigger vision. He negotiated with NRM in 2016 and in 2021. They got what they got in terms of billions and others. And in the process, he overlooked the UPC national interest. He concentrated his political base in Lango. Now, about 2 years ago, he now began reaching out to Acholi, West Nile, Teso. So, Jim AKENA's strategy, he wanted to become the kingpin of northern Uganda, to negotiate as a power broker between President Museveni and the people of the north. He wanted to be a true kingpin where he negotiates what? Power. He was not looking at becoming the president of the Republic of Uganda. Because Jim AKENA did not develop UPC in Buganda, in Soga, in Ankole, in Kigezi, in Rwenzori, in most of the areas. His major focus has now been the Greater North. The Greater North. Lango, Acholi, Teso, Karamoja, and West Nile. That was wrong, because Uganda People's Congress is a national political party. Even NUP, which came recently under Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine has now managed to put candidates all over Uganda, local government and parliamentary all over Uganda. How about Jim AKENA in the last 10 years? What was his agreement? Zone the party in Lango, and he did not even bother to now spread. As a result, the party members in Buganda, Ankole, Busoga, Bugisu, Rwenzori, Kigezi, and other parts of Uganda are very hungry with the Jim AKENA of trying to reduce UPC to a regional party. You know, he should have taken the example of NRM, spread all over Uganda, or no, spread all over Uganda. And if he was serious, Kumbi he wasn't, you know. So, let him not blame President Museveni. Thank you.